Bill and I, we're running this show. Digital land, let the blockchain flow. Pod to the cast, we ride the air. NFT dreams like we just don't care. Metaverse wild, like a zombie horde. Earth 2 terrain, we're never bored. VV collectibles stacking high. Bill and I, we touch the sky. Digital world, we rule this space. NFT riches, we're on the chase. Metaverse dreams, a brand new guide. Zombie and Bill side by side. Yeah. Bill lays down wisdom like it's gold. I'm the zombie breaking every mold. Virtual lands where our roots grow deep. Podcasts alive, we never sleep. Podcast kings in the cyber realm. Forward thinking, we at the helm. Digital land, new frontiers we take. Binary zone that we co-create. Digital world, we rule this space. NFT riches, we're on the chase. Metaverse dreams, a brand new guide. Zombie and Bill side by side. Digital world, we rule this space. NFT riches, we're on the chase. Metaverse dreams, a brand new guide. Zombie and Bill side by side. Bill lays down wisdom like it's gold. I'm the zombie breaking every mold. Virtual lands where our roots grow deep. Podcast alive, we never sleep. Podcast kings in the cyber realm.
The song just gets me every time.
Love it. It doesn't get old yet.
Let's go. What's good?
How's it going, brother?
It's going great. It's going great. I'm
Yeah,
excited
yeah.
about this guest we have today. I'm excited.
Yes.
What
We'll
up,
definitely
Spectrum?
get to that.
What's up, Fambulance?
Who's in the
What's
chat
up,
now?
everyone?
Spectrum in the house.
Good.
So, lots to talk about. What have you been up to? Anything new?
Let's see. Played too hard in basketball outside. Messed my back up a little bit with the
Oh,
kids.
gee. Some
But
hard
I couldn't
checks.
couldn't let them show me up, you know. So
Never.
gotta get it in before I get too old.
Yep.
So me and my kid were playing some other cousins. We were having fun. I had this incredible hook
that could
shot
get-
pass,
Yeah.
and then he caught it and slam dunked it. It was incredible.
What?
The hoop was only like 7.5 feet tall, though.
Okay.
when my kids were younger, we used to all play on a little Tykes hoop,
Yeah.
and we had like the whole neighborhood. We'd have like 5-on-5 on a little Tykes hoop,
Oh,
and it was
geez.
just like, yeah, the whole condo association would be in on the game, like it was straight street ball. It was incredible.
Dunk it on little kids or what?
Oh yeah, you know it.
That's funny.
Good times.
Yeah.
How about you?
Let's see. Went to Arkansas. Never
Oh.
been there before. For something for work,
Okay.
and we were in the Ozarks.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never been. I was like, I didn't know exactly where we were, but yeah, apparently we're in the Ozarks, and it was beautiful. It was
Well, it
so beautiful. Yeah,
It looks like you went to the Ozarks. You got the "Don't Tread on Me" shirt with the flannel,
there you
and it
go.
looks like the country hat. Like
Yeah,
you're
I
rocking
love
the
it.
gear.
I want to move. I swear, it was just so nice. We let's see, we when we got in, we were in a little late, and it was just pouring rain, and down the back roads it was getting a little treacherous, and I wasn't driving, so I got a little car sick. wasn't too much of a fan of that, but we made it safely, and yeah, and we did some tourism, the local bars and local like little towns there, and it was just beautiful.
That's awesome.
Saw this real nice like lake property where we hiked the trails in the back, and yeah, it was just everything was green and lush and really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good
How
food.
about
Ate every day, because I only eat like a little bit in the morning and then dinner. That's pretty much it. But we're breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
For a week, it gets
Oh.
to you. So
you
I'm on
gained a little weight?
Yeah, I'm on paleo now, so
Yeah,
gotta
little
get it
country
back.
lifestyle.
Right? Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
no kidding. When's your trip to New York? I know it's coming up, right?
Couple week, 2 weeks, week and a half,
Is
something
it a
like
week
that.
and a half?
I think it's
Okay.
next Friday. I hope.
Did
'Cause
you get your accommodations all set up?
no,
Still.
not yet.
Dang,
Not
you're
yet.
like Randy. Randy's like last minute too.
I know. Well, we were talking about going with another couple, and the
Uh-huh.
other couple's not going. I don't think so.
Ah,
We are just gonna get some last minute accommodations, possibly.
gotcha.
And I even thought about staying in maybe like Jersey the night before,
Mhm.
and then like drive like an hour in or whatever that day to get into the, then to the next hotel. I'm not sure yet. I haven't worked it
Yeah.
out. Yeah. So it's spur of the moment, and I'm just going for a Friday party and hope it works out. I guess. I don't know.
Cool.
Winging
Yeah,
it.
you have to maybe you do a little live broadcast. We'll do a little live show real quick. Check
Yeah.
out the vicinity where you're at.
Yeah, for sure. We have to.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Definitely cool.
Um,
So, do you want to just touch base quick on our future prediction that we got right
um, on remind me,
on Vivi?
what did we
The
say?
the announcement, or I guess it was announcement slash like promo that Vivi put out about Whatnot.
Yeah. So okay. So you go ahead and say it because it'll refresh my mind. Because I went back while I watched that entire show,
Uh-huh,
except for the last half hour, and I did not
uh-huh.
see us mention it. So
Yeah.
I
Well, I mean,
missed it somehow.
the whole show is based on the let's see, David. No, Dan did a talk. I forget where they were. I think Spain or something.
Okay.
And they were talking about things that are coming in Vivi, and they had mentioned other platforms being able to
Okay.
sell Vivi. And then our mind kind of got to working, and we thought
Okay.
like TikTok Shop, the lives, whatnot would be an amazing platform because they do those
And
live
we called it out.
auction. Yeah, and it's in our title.
Okay.
It's
Okay. That's what
318
I missed.
pictures.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So we kind of called that one.
Tomorrow's news today.
Yes, we will predict the future.
I didn't come up with that.
Except when the bull run happens. We don't know when that.
Yeah.
Have no
Yeah.
clue.
We finally called something right.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah. Took a few shows, but we got it. We got it.
Well, it took us to put out enough shows for us to be able to see it and then come back to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I watched it again and still didn't see it.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's going to open a lot of exposure to
Yeah.
Vivi and their NFTs and what they're kind of doing over there, and put them in a more friendly light. I think because I think when somebody's new and they hear about NFTs, they think about JPEGs, they think about overpriced bullshit, right?
Mhm.
And what Vivi's doing is a lot different than that. The true collectors over there, I think, will pick up on that. And they have comic books, they have collectibles and statues that they sell over on Whatnot. And you get enough people, over there talking
Mhm.
about Vivi and selling the NFTs.
It's just one more avenue. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about exposure because the one thing that Vivi needs 100% is exposure and new customers. We just do. We're cannibalizing each other right now,
Yes, we are
I think.
for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of cannibalism, do you want to introduce our guest?
Well, that's what zombies do.
They
yes.
do.
So we have the amazing Paul with E2 Insight, and he's an incredible guest that we've been waiting to have on forever.
Yes.
And we love his shows and his insight on monetary value, Web3, and the like. And here he is. Bam.
Oh, thanks, guys. Very happy to be here. I just want to say I want to commend you guys for the work that you do on this show. We're often presented as dumb, ignorant, and I think you guys represent us really well.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, because
Appreciate
we
that.
try to have fun with it, you know?
Yeah, we just shoot the shit.
Yeah, we have fun, give a little bit of insight, and,
Yeah.
you know, future predictions sometimes come right.
Yeah, and don't take ourselves too seriously. You know, I think a lot of egos involved sometimes with being in front of the camera so much. So we try to take that out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why I generally stay off camera.
Yeah.
I just do the vocals. It's easier.
People need to see you, man. They need a face to the voice.
Well, here I am.
So he has arrived, and you did do it. Yeah, you did a little sneak in on. We had you on an X, wasn't it? On an X show that we had.
Yeah,
and you popped in and you talked for a while. And it was a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I have done a few episodes with Robin as well. Robin's a very talented, very comedic presenter. He's got a lot of charisma and charm. We need to see more content from him too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, more regular.
And we brought you on because we wanted to talk about not just Earth2. So we wanted to talk about some other platforms, Cornucopias and Vivi, but we're not really just talking about the platforms. We're talking about the economics of it. The Web3 possibilities. So a lot of people don't understand it. And I know that you tackle it a lot, and how it relates to even freedoms of mankind versus debt enslavement. And I'd like to talk about all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, let's start out with the idea of the tokens, because metaverse utility tokens are still forming. They're still not really understood by the general public, I think. And a token without utility, it's like building a city without electricity. It might look nice, but you can't actually live there. And when you do comparative analysis on the other metaverse tokens, you find that they're mainly kind of shallow governance tokens and a currency that you can use on it. They don't have a lot of function. I mean, if you're voting on what color the DAO should be, you know, it doesn't really make much difference. It doesn't have much value. You can't expect long-term value from a token without utility. That's like printing bus tickets in a town with no buses.
And I've actually been involved in some DAOs where I completely lost interest in even voting because I didn't care.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough for me.
We're at the beginning of Web3, and these things haven't formed yet. What I love to do is to leverage AI to go look at these issues and problems that have evolved. I've done it with DAO, tokens, with utility, and suggest alternate propositions, ways of improving on it, ways of countering the issues that have come up, so we can learn from the mistakes and we can progress forward. And the funny thing is with Earth2, and especially its token, when I compared it to Axis and I said, look at what went wrong, analyze this scenario and see, like, what would you suggest to counter this happening again, where it's just a flash in the pan, all of a sudden it's worth $160 and then it's down to $2. That's great if you can pick the moment and sell it, but it's not very sustainable. And you're only really selling the token once and trying to max it out, and then it's gone. Whereas, you know, A2's AI suggestion was that E2 should operate a multi-token scheme, which it does between Essence and Ether. It should spread it out. It should have sinks within the platform. It should be deflationary. But Earth2 isn't actually deflationary. It's disinflationary. And there is a key difference here. And, you know, not just that it's burning off, but we're mining it, and there's plenty of mining in crypto things. But I think it was Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, he said a couple of years ago, he used a term, maybe you've heard of it, ultrasound money. And it's kind of a meme, you know, people use it and play around with it. But the idea being that traditional money or traditional assets like gold, silver, and fiat, they're subject to inflation. Especially with fiat, you can just print more. And all of a sudden, you know, it's depleting in value. If you're using it digitally, every time you do, the bank takes 1.5%. So I'm sure we've all seen the video of your $100 used as cash and your $100 used as, you know, 50, 100 times in the through the digital payment means, and all of a sudden it's worth nothing. But the bank has just, milked off all its little commissions, and so it's
incrementally
losing value the whole time. And that's what we're subject to. So the idea of this ultrasound money is a token or a currency that actually gains in value. And again, like there was a point where Ethereum forked, and what they did was, instead of people just being able to mine the extra tokens that were coming off, that they used some of the transactions to burn. So now it's deflationary.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's actually better. So that's where the idea of ultrasound money, like better than sound money. It's kind of a joke. I mean, it does.
Yeah, because it's not a money printer just printing endlessly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's a real economic principle. And when you start to apply it to essence, you can see that not only do we have deflationary mechanisms built in, lots of them, but it's disinflationary. Like we're burning it, we're able to generate it through the token, we're mining it. I love the fact that you can only mine essence. You can't just buy it. I mean, Next Earth's token, do you remember Next Earth was like a copycat that did it? Their NNXT token it's a cautionary tale. I mean, they launched their token quickly. What Earth2 peeps were saying, yes, launch our token, release essence, release.
I didn't even know they had a token, to be honest with you. I never bought into it.
Well, they did. And, releasing something without integration, no meaningful purpose beyond, again, the basic governance and transactions, its use as a currency. People were buying it just for speculation and hype. It peaked out at about 2 cents. And now if you go look at the NNXT token, I checked it out yesterday. And I thought, oh God, what's that? It says 0, and then there's a 5, but the 5 is dropped down. And I was like, oh, what's that? It's because they don't want to put 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So they just put a number to represent how many zeros are there. If you even bought it at 2 cents, you are now 1,000 times poorer. Like 10,000 times poorer on your investment. In practice, it's a meme token. And the market saw right through it. And from 2 cents at its peak to almost nothing today, so many zeros. It's ridiculous. And the lesson in that is that utility matters. Speculation alone cannot sustain value. What we really need are tokens that are built with utility first. And while Earth2 suffered a lot of criticism in terms of, how they approach the economy first, the ecosystem, building lots of utility and sinks within the platform, it's actually like they've learned from the mistakes of other platforms and tried to address that ahead of time. So there's a lot of criticism because, they should have released the game. They're not following the traditional development path of an MMORPG because they're not one. They're a platform. It's bigger than that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'll be honest. What drew me into Earth2 originally was I'm into real estate. So I automatically saw digital real estate that will create crypto. I love crypto. I love real estate. So I was like, this is a no-brainer for me. I love cash flow. And if it's going to generate cash flow for as long as I own the properties, I'm in,
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And even though the crypto wasn't available yet, I saw the potential for the future and a way out. Like you mentioned in your video, Hidden War on Freedom. Are we really free? But Earth2 and future Cornucopias and like platforms that actually put the work in and set it up properly, they offer freedom from debt enslavement. Because debt enslavement equals our money going to zero. Because the banks will imprint it to infinity, and then our cash is worth nothing, and we can't buy anything with it. However, like a lot of countries are then taking Bitcoin because Bitcoin came first, obviously, and then they are using that to be able to buy food and subsidize their income because they're getting crushed from the money printing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a key. Yeah, go for it.
So cryptocurrency, you mentioned, is a way out. It's borderless. It's unstoppable freedom against the usury, the debt
Yes.
enslavement.
Yeah,
Speak on usury.
usury, an amazing thing that most people have never even heard of. You should, if you can get a chance to check out the video on the secret war on debt, or the hidden war on debt, on our debt slavery. Because usury used to be banned, charging interest on things. It was economic collapse. But we've actually based our economic system on usury, on debt, on charging interest on things. But across all the philosophies, all the religions, in Christianity, it's a cardinal sin. In Buddhism, in Judaism, all of them, like early on, were saying, do not charge interest to your brother. It's it's absolutely how things get manipulated, how it falls apart, how these kind of power structures come into play. Crypto offers, it's the first time we really get offered an opportunity to break free of that. And so you can have your governance over your money.
And it reminds me of the situation of when the Rothschilds placed that bet. I believe it was against Napoleon. When they had a messenger come from one of the Napoleon Wars, and they stated the opposite of what happened in the battlefield, and everyone started selling off everything.
Yeah,
and then
big
the
land grab.
Rothschilds came in and they scooped up everything, and it was an opportunity of a lifetime for them. But crypto, in a small way, is similar to that, where we can buy up what we can now, pennies on the dollar, because in the future everything is going to consist around this. Like Earth2 with the digital land, people 5-10 years down the road will wish they had the opportunity that we've had, where we've had to come in, we've had this insider information, and we came in and we purchased all that we could, right? It's just reminds me of that.
Yeah, I think that's true too, but we also have to be cautious, because not all cryptos are created equally, right? There's a lot of, like Paul was saying about that other project,
Yes.
You could be fooled. So you really have to do your due diligence, and you can't just trust anybody, right? You have to do some research, use AI, and get on top of these projects and see what rings true to you and what you see in a project that you want to invest in, right?
Yeah. And I see like Cornucopias. From my understanding, the coin is not available in the game yet. So they're just getting to the point where they've concentrated on the gameplay. And now they're releasing the land, which happened a few days ago. And the crypto will be integrated afterwards, is my understanding. But because they didn't release it all at once, like that company you were talking about, After Earth, there was no utility value to it, where they can just slowly build utility into it, kind of similar to Earth2.
So it seems that even though the criticism for Earth2 is that they did it differently, that they sold land, sold skins before you were able to really utilize them. I mean, we are able to utilize them now, but because they took that approach, they were heavily criticized. But you got to only just look around in the Web3 space, Somnium space, Wilder World, Voxels, all of the, apart from Decentraland and Sandbox, the obvious ones, the selling of land ahead of time and using that to help finance the war chest for projects moving forward, it's becoming completely normalized. Something that's heavily criticized in the beginning, actually, it worked. It worked for E2. It gave us a lot of money into the war chest, and we can continue going forward. I know Callum, in his latest video, he was saying, at least 100 million. That is in an incredibly kind of small valuation because he's not involved in E2. He's not seeing the marketplace trades, the jewels, the civilians, the sidroids shifting and selling, and E2 making a small percentage on each one. The more that we trade, the more the platform benefits, the more we benefit too. So they've taken a very different approach. If you go on to Meta's thing, they're looking for 45 to 55% of what you earn. So they're taking the majority the whole time. It's very, whereas E2 is player centric. But let me tell you what I use AI for. It's not just to formulate good arguments against the scam tubers and these kind of things, which I do use it for, but I also try and understand their argument. Yeah. Right. That this is a really good way of using AI, especially when we're in these discussions. And I try, like I'll download their scripts and I'll feed it into AI and I'll go analyze this and see where it is they're coming from. Like, what is the fear here? What's going on for them? Help me understand their position so I can address their fears. And hate, it always comes from fear. Hate always comes from fear. So their fear, and it's justified, is because they have seen over the past maybe 10 years, corporations monetizing everything they can. People switching to free to play, but putting all these monetary sinks in for players. Oh, you can recharge or respawn in 24 hours or pay 99 cents and you can do it right now. There's definitely some videos out there. There was a leaked video of a conference of game designers, corporate game designers, and they had all the different types of players and how they target them psychologically and, all the kind of tricks that they do. One of them was, I think, I can't remember which game it was, but they released something new and they said it's $150 and the entire community went into uproar. Right, about this, too expensive, ridiculous, right? So after a week or two, the company went, okay, look, we'll make it $75, and everyone cheered, and the community felt they had won a victory. They were celebrating. The company was always going to charge them $75. They're playing 3D chess while gamers are playing checkers. Right? They're manipulating the psychological thing. They're still getting $75 for some digital asset, right? They always intended that, but they're 3 steps ahead. And so people who are smart, and the scam tubers do have intelligence. It's not they're completely dumb. At least some of them. They're seeing this, and what they're seeing is these monetary things destroying gaming, pay to win elements, taking out the crux of what gaming is about. The community, the camaraderie, the skill elements. So you could work your way and grind away in some game and earn, some armor or some weapon. And then some guy comes along with 10 grand and just throws it at it. And he can jump ahead of you. He can,
he has it instantly.
Model is terrible. And it's destroying gaming. So I understand why they fear the introduction of crypto or money into gaming. But money's already in gaming. Gaming accounts for more than movies and sport put together. It's a $360 billion industry a year, right? And only growing. But the metaverse stuff is actually going to eclipse that. No problem. Billions and billions of dollars. We expect it to come. It's already making a lot. Web3 is just pushing that. But you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like when people say play to earn is dead or it's never worked, what they're actually describing is poor planning and poor execution of play to earn. Play to earn is just beginning. It doesn't mean, like the argument I think is like, my girlfriend cooked a chicken last night and she burnt it. Therefore, nobody should ever cook again. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. And Earth2 have gone a different way and tried to build a real long haul infrastructure with you can see all these things. And when I was looking at, at the time when I was doing this comparison, you know, we've all been pissed off with E2 at certain points because it may have, their movement or their shift may have negatively affected our financial position, or at least what we think as our financial position now, currently. And when Shane said that he was going to switch the yellow energy to land purchases, that you could purchase land with, which still generates essence, I was pissed. No question about it, right? And you know, I felt it was like a bait and switch, because we've been told one thing, and then it's like, you know, I'll give you $10 to mow that lawn, and once you mow the lawn, you go, well, here's $10 worth of oranges, and you can always sell those oranges and get your $10, but you didn't agree to that. So you know, I was pissed about it. And I think a lot of the content creators were. But when I was doing more and more analysis, I was realizing, you know, what AI was saying to me was that to work this out, AI are going to have to interject. They're going to have the ability to shift and move and find ways to correct it. And as soon as I read that, I was like, you know, it just dropped all my kind of anxiety about it. I was like, it's right. They have to be able to shift and move it and adjust and fine tune.
You got to pivot.
And so instead of getting annoyed at it, expect it. And that's a completely different mindset. They need to be able to pivot when is necessary and adjust the finances so people can't, you know, be whales and manipulate the markets and do all these things that have actually torn down other platforms. Like the infrastructures where most of these other what I think of as proto metaverse platforms, that's where they've fallen down. They haven't developed the token well. They haven't integrated it. It's just a meme token. You know, it's a secondary thing. Whereas this has been built into the ecosystem.
And how many times have people been super mad at Vivi for pivoting in a different direction when they needed to? And instead of people realizing that it has to happen for them to carry on the company and go in the right direction, these companies need to be able to pivot. But people are like, you said in your white paper, this is how it's going to be, you know, and no matter what, you have to stick to that. And it's like, well, that's not how companies work. It's not
how white papers work either. White papers are subject to change.
When a law is passed, you have to pivot. You know, if it's going against you or if it's going for you, either way, you have to be able to move. And I agree with what Shane has to do, you know, because that shows that we're going in a better direction when we need to.
Yeah.
It's balancing. He's trying to balance that ecosystem. And he's maybe not going to get it right exactly the first time. And that's fine. As long as they pivot and shift and do all these things. You know, I love to debate with people, right? I'm sure that's pretty obvious at this point. But you know, and I use logic and analysis. I'm an analytical kind of person, and I look into it. But what I find funny is that while, you know, Earth2 kind of shifts and pivots, and they get a lot of criticism from YouTubers, do you know how YouTube started? YouTube started with 3 people in a shop above in an office above a pizza shop, right? So go back to the beginning of the criticism of Earth2. 3 people in a basement can't build anything. They built YouTube, right? But YouTube was originally a video dating site, but it wasn't that popular, and it wasn't really what they said, like, you know, what the public wanted. So they pivoted into a video sharing thing, and now look at YouTube. So you have to have that ability to move and shift. And, you know, focusing on one element, I think a lot of people focus on, you've got to pump the token. What I'm hearing is that Earth2 is building a car, and certain people who have a percentage of this car are saying, we need to pump that one tire up really big. But the car's not going to drive if one tire is big. All the tires have to be balanced. Otherwise, the car is not going to move. So while the token's essential, and we all want to earn money, make profit, passive income, we put years into it, I get it. But you can't let impatience push you to, and you know, I think that Shane has done, there's lots of things he's done wrong. And there's things he's done right. He could be way better at communication, not just with the Earth2 community. I don't want him to be pushing more for communication with the Earth2 community. I want Earth2 to be better at communication. So when people do stuff like I do, like they do analysis of the token, of the structure, of the tokenomics, that's available to them. Because when I was doing analysis of Earth2, AI was like, oh, well, Earth2 hasn't released its token yet. Of course it has. But maybe it's reading off some old paragraph that says in the future Earth2 will release its token. That stuff needs to be updated. It needs to be cleared. We need a whole revamp of the website. If stuff is no longer applicable, remove it. So when people are looking, they can find the right details. They can find the right info.
It doesn't help that the Essence, there's a couple others that have the ESS label as well.
Yes, Essentia.
So that kind of, I've had a couple crypto shows, like Crypto Rain. I don't know if you know him, but Paul from Definity comes on there, and I've had them bring up Essence a few times. And Paul's like a worldwide trader, and he's like, I'm having a hard time bringing it up. I keep seeing Essentia, and I'm like, nope, not Essentia. But it's just, so maybe AI is struggling with that too. Who knows? But it is what it is, and we're gonna make Earth2 bigger than Essentia, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we have more in all my research. I have not seen at least a Metaverse utility token that has more function, that has more utility and integration into the platform. It's, if you add in governance, which is coming through the DAOs, obviously it's functioning as a currency. We've got earning, burning, staking, and those are common things to have. But many of the Metaverse utility tokens don't actually have them. They're just governance tokens. But we have powering things, charging, boosting, synthesizing, unlocking new layers of interaction and possibilities within the platform. Things like advertising, hordes, and there will be more and more to come. It'll just keep being aired.
Including usury. Usury will be in there too. Through the power, us charging interest for our power, right?
Well, DeFi and stuff may start to come in. You may be able to borrow money off your Essence token, off your cryptocurrency. All that's evolving as well. But I kind of think of Essence as a Swiss Army knife token because it does so many things. It's got so many elements to it.
Just keeps popping out. Yep.
I mean, if you had to hold something to sell, what would you rather sell? Would you rather sell something that's useless or something that everyone needs?
Yeah, exactly. Paul, quick question. When did you get into this project and what kind of drew you to it?
December, 2020. So it was about a month in. It was late December, so maybe kind of a month and a half into it. And it's funny because at the time I thought I was too late. I was like, oh my God, the prices are shooting up and I missed opportunities here. I remember not buying land in the US because it was shooting up to $1. I focused more on third world countries and cheaper land and figured it would climb comparative to what other countries were. But I still think it was a sound kind of investment. I got into it more for my yoga studio. I had a yoga studio back then, and we were coming out of COVID, and a lot of all our stuff had moved to online platforms, online courses. And I was seeing that the future of not just my industry, but many industries was going to be in this kind of format. And I was looking for something where I could do that. So initially my concept was to own some beautiful spots. And that's what geared my purchasing, why I was choosing to purchase in certain areas, or I'd get whole tropical islands and stuff, because I was thinking, well, here I'm limited in space. So if I regularly hold teacher trainings and stuff, but maybe I can fit 20 people into the studio and it's packed and it's crowded, and there's only a cap on how much I can make, and I have to charge more money and stuff, make it more expensive. But in a metaverse platform, if I was able to digitally or virtually present that same exact information, just like we did in the online classes and courses, but in a 3D environment, that I could charge $1 a person, but have 10,000 people coming, and I would make way more money than I could with the 20 people packed into one room in a studio. So I saw that element of it. Things like Aloe is a clothing brand. They already have yoga and meditation spaces that you can go and participate in. Now, it's very clunky, and it's, it's not ideal, especially if you're trying to follow along as a yoga student and stuff. But that's only going to evolve. Of course it is. Just like, YouTube evolved, just like all these streaming platforms evolved. The technology is catching up. And I saw a great quote the other day. A guy said, if you're in a project that was booming, like that, there was a lot of hype about 3 or 4 years ago, you're in the right position because the technology is probably catching up with it right now.
Pull up JMs. Paul, like this.
Sorry, what was the question?
Was thinking, who is this dude? Then I recognize the voice. Great videos. Yeah, he does. He's got great videos.
So, Paul, what gave you the trust in the project? Because it was kind of a bit of a leap of faith for a lot of people, right? Because nothing was really created, just a very simple rudimentary website where you bought and sold land. What gave you that gut feeling about this?
Initially, I stayed like this for years. I just didn't commit that much money to it. I committed at 1,000. That was my fixed. I was going to put $1,000 in and speculate and see where I could do with that. I could afford to lose that. It wasn't, I've lost more money on pokies or on lottery tickets before. It's not a huge concern for me to lose that money, and I have more money invested in other projects. I actually put way more money into Vivi when the hype and everything was going and the market was killing it. But Earth2, I saw not just as a project for my business, something where my business could evolve, maybe even take over from my business, but the ability to earn passive income, like real passive income through mining the token, through, whether you're running a store, whether you're doing classes or courses, like I saw the possibility to be able to do that. And I wanted to get in early. It's always early adopters who make the greatest gains in these kind of things. So you have to have a bit of faith. You have to have vision, but that doesn't mean I did not research. I love to research. It's built into my psyche. I'm constantly going through things, looking for, delving into it. I love to deep dive into it. And I did that with Earth2 as well. So yes, there was an element of faith because it was very early in the project. It was a month and a half old. I could have sold my stuff very early and made lots of money. I actually withdrew about $1,500 maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So I mean, I've put $500 back in since then. So I'm like totally break even. That I have not spent, and absolutely on a free ride. Other people have pulled out way more money, sometimes 10 times the money that they have. I just thought that was a very short-term play. So I invested what I did, and I wanted to see. Back then I was writing a lot of articles and publishing them on Medium, and I set myself this challenge: 1K to 100K. Could I take this $1,000? And through the ideas that E2 was proposing, they hadn't evolved yet, but if they did, and the kind of play to earn, the mining mechanisms, the staking, the shops, the studios and courses, and all these things that you could integrate, could I 100x that $1,000 up? And I think I'm on track. I committed.
Amazing.
I'm not going to put more money in. I'm not going to put more money in. I'm going to stay with 1,000, and I'm going to work the ecosystem. And that's what I did. I'd be buying and selling things. I'd be selling jewels, buying civilians, leveling them up, selling them out. There's many plays within the ecosystem. So I wasn't putting more money in, but I was bringing my portfolio the whole time. When resource staking came out, I had 13,000 essence. By the end of it, I had 60,000 essence.
Nice.
Because I worked super hard, and I tried to time it when the Koreans were asleep. That was definitely the best time to try and do it. I don't know if you've seen, but there's an AI robotic hand, like an exoskeleton hand, that you can now use, and they use it to train pianists and stuff, but for gamers as well. And there was a streamer, I can't remember what game it was, but he got one, or he built one himself, and he was using it. Like, once you kind of let go and let AI take over, he immediately jumped up to number 4 ranking in the world in this game. Because he was just fast. You know, AI can be faster and more responsive than you can, clicking your buttons. So very hard to pick up from the software side, like obviously cheating and bots, and but it's going to be difficult in the future to work around that. So again, you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to look at, okay, well, look, people are doing this now, or they found this way of scamming people, so we need to close that door, fix that leak.
Well, I noticed that Joe Davidson just jumped in the chat. What's up, Joe? Joe's a Cornucopias member. See what he said here. He said, I can't judge. I spent tens of thousands in Cornucopias.
Sure.
I'd like you to pull up that comparison of Earth2 to Cornucopias. Could you do that?
Yeah, just give me a minute.
See if you can find that. Because I've had several community members from both sides say, oh, wow, Earth2 looks interesting. I'm going to look into this. What's that about? You know, and I've also had other guys, you know, obviously in Earth2 want to know what Cornucopias was all about. And it'd be nice to, I know you pulled up an AI comparison model, and I thought, wow, that'd be spectacular. And I'd also, while we're talking about that, I would like to show some of the land plots I got this week while we're talking.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, let's show it off.
Yeah, you do that while I'm looking for it. I'm just scanning back to my chats.
Here we go. Lots of.
You ready, Bill?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you see them?
Wow.
So, Cornucopias is pretty crazy.
Like the look.
So right now there's like it's pretty hard to explain, but there's like 3. So okay, for those that are in the chat, there are domes that rise above the earth, right? And this is the dome, and these land masses are gigantic. Okay, and you can zoom in, you can see all the different plots and the different towns that you can buy in, right? And they did kind of a different style where they sold the land NFTs first, but then now they're releasing the land that you can auction from 3 different places. As Joe mentions, 3 Solas. But there'll be more in the future of these different domes that rise up above the earth. There's some kind of cataclysmic event. We're not really sure why, unless maybe they announced it and I didn't see it. But I think it's part of the lore that they're going to release later. You said I could filter on the top left. Yeah. But what's neat about this is people had to compete by bidding with different tiered land to see if they could get those land plots. So you had on some plots, there were like 80 freaking commons. There were mythic and legendary and different tiers of people that were bidding on one plot. But if that plot sold somewhere else, it was taken off and you wouldn't know about it right away. So it's almost like you had to put your bids in, even though there was 100 different bids, and hope that those bids were all cleared away before that land came up.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
So cool. It made it kind of fun.
Like a gamification a little bit.
What's that?
Like a gamification a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely gamifying it for sure. I'm just getting a little bit of feedback. Somebody have the volume. Paul, do you have your volume on the YouTube?
I'm not hearing
my
anything
voice
on my
back.
end. No.
Okay.
I have it coming out of the speaker. Maybe it's feeding back through the microphone.
Okay. So
I can put that.
it made it fun, and I ended up getting 4 plots. 3 of them were small plots, so they're really small. They're like maybe like a 20, 30 tile plot in Earth2. Okay. And then I landed a medium, and even though I own a large plot, I never got it. So I still own the land deed, but I haven't tied it to a property yet.
Okay. So you have to have one before the other one, and
yes.
Okay.
You can't bid on them. You can't bid on them unless you have the deed, but then you won't get awarded the deed unless you get it in the auction at the right moment and just put the bid in, right?
Right. So did that use their crypto to do all those transactions, or how was that done?
So no. So you already paid for it in the past. I would have liked to seen some kind of transactions with Kopi involved in this.
Right.
I think that would have been a cooler element, just to give their token some utility, right? Because like Earth2 is just pounding out the utility. I haven't seen a lot on Kopi's in yet, but I hope that they start utilizing a lot of the same techniques that Earth2 is. So I only got 4 plots, but some guys, they got 0 or they got none.
So how many deeds do you have?
Maybe I have 8 regular plots. Like I have 1 large, 2 mediums, and I think the rest are commons. Okay. Or sorry, the smaller plots. So maybe 8 total. And then I also have a large custom dome. And then I have, I think, a small custom dome, which are separate. Those you own yourself. And you can have P to player to player, P to P, like shooter up games up in there. If you want to, you can host them. And you can do anything you want with that, from my understanding.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool. So that part hasn't been added yet, but
cool.
Yeah, Joe says I cannot wait for custom domes. Yeah, for sure. So did you pull it up in time?
I couldn't find that exact one. Sorry, I got too many chats in AI and too many comparative analysis.
Okay.
We can, but let's focus on.
But you've looked into Cornucopias. Let's chat about it.
So, yeah, I mean, I just did a comparative analysis of their token, and their token's actually not bad. I actually thought, well, maybe I'll put, I'm going to invest some money into Essence pretty soon. I'm waiting on a payout. And I was going to put about $5,000, maybe $10,000 into Essence because I believe in its potential. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll put 1,000 into that, or maybe Wilder World, or I'll diversify a little bit, not put all the eggs into one basket, as they say.
So have you bought anything in the Wilder World yet?
No, I haven't actually. I'm waiting on this large payout from an insurance company. But I think in terms of the token, like Earth2 did have a kind of novel approach with their token. And instead of promising the moon, they did a stealth launch. And it already launched with working sinks and utilities, things like jewel crafting, sidroid building, synthesizing civilians, avatar spawning now with Ether, the kind of component of Essence. Like all of these, this is incredibly rare. Because most projects like Next Earth, After Earth, they launch the token first. And the token is a means of generating money for that kind of war chest for the project to proceed. But again, if it doesn't have much utility, it's like selling bus tickets, but there's no bus coming. So we also had no VC funding, no corporate overlords, demanding interest on their return, and really a player-driven focus. And this comes back to the fear that the kind of gaming community has about play to earn, that it's big corporations who have done this to them. So, I mean, what we really need is like some kind of small non-corporate venture that has enough money to survive and do it right, who's driven by, you know, player focus, maybe a gamer rather than some corporate CEO who's never even played games. It's all just about the bottom line and milking the players for as much money as possible. If only we had a project that was built from the ground up like that, where the players were involved and did it. I mean, that is Earth2, but they criticize Earth2 like it's the same as the corporate greed, just because money's involved. But money is already involved in gaming. $360 billion a year. It's just all flowing from the players to the corporations. And so they're already in a sunk cost fallacy, if you like. I mean, they get stuff from it. They get gaming, they get interaction, they get communities, they build skill. There's all those elements within gaming. And I understand it, but we can't categorize everyone the same. Earth2 started differently. It did it completely off kilter to how other projects did it. And this is good because we can see that the initial play to earn models didn't function particularly well. Axis got very popular, but it wasn't sustainable. And it created this really out of balance and out of whack kind of system where people were milking it. Some of the guilds were making millions of dollars a year and they were farming out everything. And so again, the rich get richer, and it doesn't give a lot of opportunity for the small guys. I mean, there were people who were buying houses in the Philippines.
And the game was terrible too, not to mention.
Oh yeah, absolutely boring. But when Shane was my friend of mine who actually got me into E2, when he was staying over here, when he came back from the Philippines, we were playing a mining game that was big in Japan and Korea. And you literally have a pickaxe and a hand, and you're going down and exploring this cave, and you got a little radar, and you try and find jewels, and you dig them out, and you're just like press to do it. It's got almost no gameplay. And you know what? It's so popular, right? Because they have the potential to earn. Because what you don't see is that earning a couple of dollars a day, people are like, oh, I can't be bothered doing that. But if your wage is $10 a week, the ability, or maybe you can't get work. So the ability to earn even a couple of dollars a day is massive for like 90% of the world's population. That's huge to be able to earn $10 a week.
Yeah, I was telling a lot of my guys that I work with that I have different means of income besides just real estate. And even though it's very small amounts, it all adds up over time. A few dollars here, I'm mining a few dollars over there. I've got staking over here, and not to mention what I'm bringing in Earth2 every day. And so it all adds up over time, and suddenly you're making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever a day. And, you know, some people around the planet doesn't even make that in a week, you know?
And that's just at this price. I mean, I'm just accumulating essence. But even at the rate, I know when Nameless was doing streams, they were saying never talk about maths on stream. But I love the maths, which is funny because I do remember asking my maths teacher, when am I ever going to use maths in real life? But in the end, you obviously have to do the maths on it. And I look at my initial $1,500 and I see that I'm generating 200 essence a day, which at current rate is about $6. I'm generating, 20, 30 joules a day. What are they? Another $2.40. I'm collecting resources. That we're making like $10 a day from a $1,500 investment, which I've already withdrawn that $1,500, right? So this is on top. This is free and clear. That kind of return is just at really low rates, at really low prices. That is impossible to get from the bank. That's impossible to get a high interest rate. $10 a day. I think I had about $70,000, $80,000 go through my bank account last year through wages and book sales and all that. And you know how much the bank gave me in interest? Minus $2 after fees. Minus $2.
Minus.
Oh my God! You are charged because the rate they're charging compound interest, and
Yeah.
or they're
Meanwhile,
paying
they're lending your money out, you know,
and making money
out-
themselves. Yep.
making tons of money themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, Paul, I got a quick question. Obviously, you've done your research on Earth 2 and kind of the ins and outs of the tokenomics and the ecosystem. Where do you see the token going? Let's say this bull run, possibly.
See, I think the way that it's structured is not going to be dependent on the bull run. It's going to be dependent on the platform. Yeah, and the more utility, the more people are using it, the more that we're integrating into it. That's that we're not going to be dependent on bull runs. I mean, they may hype the price and bring it up, and certainly speculation about more and more metaverse platforms, more and more Web3 stuff coming will certainly bring it to the forefront of people's minds. So they may be looking for that next project to invest into because they want 100x their money or that kind of mentality. But the way that they've structured it, I can see Earth2 earning, like, what would you rather do? Would you rather make $5,000 right now, sell everything, make $5,000? Or would you prefer to get $10 a day for the rest of your life? Like, one obviously works out better than the other. Now, maybe you need the $5,000, and certainly there are situations where people have to withdraw or have to sell their stuff for Earth1 necessities, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You should always withdraw a profit when you can, but just not everything. Like, if Essence shoots up to $1, I might sell 25% of it, but I'll hold on to the rest because it may spike beyond that. I will pull out profit, and I have a kind of strategy of what I would sell at what price as it goes up. Realistically, I think we will hit something like 20 to 25 cents as more utility comes out. And at that point, you know, if I'm still earning 200 Essence a day, then we start going to, just from Essence, $40 a day. Now, like, for me, that's 40 US dollars. So that's about 60, 65 Australian dollars. And that, but it's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, at that point, absolutely, things will become more competitive. There will be more people jumping on the platform. There will be more people raiding. You won't get your results. Yeah, you won't be able to, as we approach the halving, you won't be able to convert your Ether into Essence, which I think is a really solid play, real long-term play for the platform. And it'll be harder to get. But that's also going to increase the value. Maybe not immediately, but I can see, as there's more sinks and more utilities coming into play on the platform, that we start to reach a situation where not enough Essence is being issued, that it's not coming out quick enough for demand. And that is key. When we hit that moment, that the demand is greater than the issuance, then we're going to see a spike in price, 100%.
Yeah, the halving is going to be interesting for sure.
What they've done is create a really resilient ecosystem before the public rush. And you can see with the figures.
And nobody does that, by the way. Nobody does
it. You don't set up the economy first, but that's where other platforms have fallen down. So the fact that they've addressed that gives me a lot of faith. And you can see that there's faith in the community too. A couple of months ago, we were 60 million, 64 million Essence. Then it was 74. Now it's 80. It's probably even more Essence staked for, and that's 22% of the circulating supply. And it's staked 15, 30, 90 days. This is a massive trust signal by the E2 players and by the E2 users. And not only is it in the Essence, because it also ties up the land that the Essence is staked on. So you can't sell that land while the Essence is staked to it. So it's a very clever kind of way of working it, and it helps keep the platform thriving and developing.
And why would you ever sell the land? It generates literally everything.
Yeah. Well, okay. So speaking about selling the land, what about the integration of NFTs? Because, you know, we were kind of, it kind of talked about it in the early beginnings of Earth2, but I haven't heard too much more about land being NFTs, skins being NFTs, like be able to sell on OpenSea, stuff like that, where you'll get a bunch of new eyeballs on the project.
Yeah, I think that'll come with time as well.
You think that's the direction they're going still?
Not necessarily. I mean, when you think about using a third-party marketplace, they also have their fees. So you've got to export your thing, pay the fees, they take their things. It's not really benefiting the platform that you're operating on. So I'm sure they will integrate with other marketplaces that you can sell those things, especially if there's integration between metaverse platforms. So you can take an Earth2 skin and use it in Wilder World. Of course, there'll have to be those kind of means and methods of getting it. And third-party platforms are certainly that at the moment. That's the way it's done. I mean, everything, to my mind, everything's going to be an NFT. It's basically a digital ledger. It's not going to, like, people scoff at NFTs just because the initial offering of NFTs was like apes and JPEGs and stuff like that. But it's the idea behind it, you know, a decentralized model where nobody can fake your accreditation is going to be an NFT that can't be faked. Your house title is going to be an NFT, and it will also hold all the information, what you spent on updating your car registration. It's just a better, more efficient, modern way of recording information. So just because it was JPEGs and apes and stuff in the beginning, that was just the start. And there's a lot of scoffing about NFTs, and it's simply a means. When you research it, you think, well, everything's gonna, like people are hanging on to pagers, and iPhones have been released, and they're like, nobody's gonna use them. That's just ridiculous. Like, pagers are the way to go. Pagers are the way we've always done it. So let's stick to that.
Right.
Just ever evolving.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think we haven't even touched on the fact that Earth2 is a geolocational-based metaverse platform, which will later obviously tie into AR and VR integration. And that opens up a lot of possibilities. Now, how that's going to unfold is difficult to predict. And this is one of the key kind of argument points that the critics would say, tell us what it is. Explain what Earth2 is going to be. And that's like demanding that a baby tells you his career path, and being like, well, you're a scam if you can't tell me what your career path is going to be right at the birth. It's kind of a ridiculous way of looking at things. It's going to evolve. It's going to pivot. It's going to change. Someone may come along with a great idea, and all of a sudden a whole new kind of industry comes up. Like, it has that space. They're just creating the platform. It's the players and that kind of integration that's going to build the real, the stuff that's interesting. It's got to have engagement. You're not going to,
they could integrate it just like Pokemon Go, right? Where you are geolocational, so that you come across there and that you'll find something that'll be in use in Earth2 in the future. I think that's a great idea.
You can walk past the shop, and if you're in Earth2 and you look at it on your phone or your AR glasses, and it could have a 50-foot high mannequin saying 10% off, come in today.
Right.
It's located to that spot. So there's certainly lots of ways it may evolve, and it probably will evolve, because all of this technology is catching up. What people were saying 5 years ago, it's impossible, there's not enough computational power to run an Earth-sized metaverse, they're just JPEGs, all these kind of ridiculous arguments. I mean, they look funny now, although I did hear Callum regurgitate the JPEG argument in his latest video, which was I was actually going to point it out, but he brought it back for me.
When you look, should just stick to building his Nintendo 64 looking video games.
He should focus on his own game, to be honest. Some of this stuff that he says is completely disingenuous. I think his latest video was mostly him saying whatever that is, because he doesn't understand it, because he hasn't researched it. So he doesn't know what it is. So he mocks it and derides it. But I mean, for God's sake, you're a content creator. Look into it. And this is something I've been petitioning for. Come and do an honest analysis of what's going on, because I'm looking at the tokenomics. I'm looking at the sinks, the structure, the balancing features. I'm looking at what's evolving and how they've done it. I'm comparing it to the mistakes other platforms made. And I think there's something really interesting going on here. But whenever I try and say this kind of stuff to people, especially online, I'm dismissed as being dumb. And this is the key straw man element. And you'll hear it repeated over and over again in the scam tubers videos that we're delusional, we're lost in a sunk cost fallacy. But sunk cost fallacy doesn't just apply to money. Sunk cost fallacy also applies to ideas. So if you have an idea or a bias about something, and then more and more stuff comes out that proves what you think is wrong, but you retain your opinion regardless of the proof, that's a sunk cost fallacy. So I stay in a sunk cost fallacy, not us. I've already withdrawn more money or the same amount of money as I put in. So I'm on a free roll. I have nothing to lose, essentially, and everything to gain. Now, not everyone's going to be in that position, but it's a strong position to be in. But I was an early adopter. I had faith. The project could have fallen apart. It still could. Any project can fall apart. One of the things that interests me or I see come up a lot is this kind of understanding, because we were essentially a crowd-funded venture, but Earth2 was already a company. They already had a website. They'd already got licensing. They'd, registration, ASIC, all these things were already in play. So because we're kind of it's a new kind of model that we're integrated with the growth of the platform and it benefits us. A lot of people feel like they're shareholders in Earth2, but they're not. Even if I buy Coke from Coke to resell Coke for profit, I can't go in and demand that the CEO shows me his path, where they're going to go. I need to see how much you're spending, where you're spending it. Like, they'd laugh me out of the room. So, but because we are growing with the platform and we have a kind of interaction with the CEO, I mean, he's been quiet recently, which is probably a good sign. But he interacts with us. He answers questions. He stays longer than he probably should. And where do you see that? You don't see that a lot. So,
very few projects.
So, all that kind of stuff gives me faith. And I see the path they're trying to take. It's not the easiest path. And certainly some of the decisions Shane has made have not been popular. And you know what? It takes guts to, when people are screaming at you, when the entire community say, we're going to leave unless you release the Essence token, and you still don't do it. It's boring. It takes commitment.
It does.
But when you understand the overall structure, you're not going to pump up that one tire. You're going to balance all the tires because you're looking at the entire vehicle, the whole project. And if the project does well, everyone does well.
Right. And that vehicle... Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that vehicle needs to go to its destination, right?
Yeah, it needs to start driving. It hasn't even started driving yet, essentially. We're still testing.
Have you read the book Ready Player One at all?
I have a long time ago, and I watched the movie again the other night, which is very enjoyable. But the movie differs from the book.
So
and this is part of the argument too.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because Shane seems to be very much guided by that book. Even in the layout of Earth2, he's really wants to give the power to the people. And it was very much like that in the book. And there were a lot of situations, even from like the different portals and different fees and things he's integrated that are clearly in the book. I recommend anybody who wants a little insight into Shane's thinking, definitely read the book instead of just watching the movie. But definitely watch the movie too, because it's incredible. So
I mean, I was having a discussion with Big Fry on Twitter or on X, and he was saying, look, it's never going to be Ready Player One. And I'm like, we're not talking about the Eiffel Tower here. It's not something they have to replicate exactly. I mean, Ready Player One is a concept that's being expressed in a book and a movie. And the movie differs from the book. And everyone who reads the book interprets it differently. It's not something that can be copied exactly. You can't copy exactly a concept. But what it is a framework for a digitally persistent world, which is exactly what Earth2 is. It's got an economy. It's going to stay. So if I cut that tree down and you come here 3 years later, the tree's still cut down, or maybe it's regrown, but it's a digitally persistent world. And that was the idea of the metaverse, and Earth2 is definitely trying to replicate that. The other one was that it's not going to have the graphics of Red Dead Redemption. Now, E2 today dropped Martian's video, which is great. It's a great video. I actually used some of it in my kind of spoof against Big Fry, the song that I did, the kind of clap back. I used some of the video footage in that. Now, the footage I have is clearer. It's even clearer. When you upload to YouTube, it gets compressed. When you send it and download it, and there is compression. So even it looks spectacular, it's actually better if you've got it on your computer. So go have a look at that video, watch it in 4K. Mine for sometimes.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I watch it on my TV.
But know that it's even better than that, because I have the original. He had to send it to me. It was like 7 gig to export it like that. I think he even had to compress it down a little to be able to get it and send it to me, because the quality is there. And I've done side-by-side comparisons of Red Dead Redemption and Earth2 V1. And you cannot say it doesn't have the quality. Maybe it doesn't have the gameplay yet, but that's not what they were saying when they referenced. They were saying the land, the visual appeal, the semi-photo realism of the space. That's what we're aiming for, and that's what we have. And now I will note that in the initial E2, that they used to say photorealistic, but if you look at it now, probably on advice from lawyers, it says semi-photorealistic, which is fine. But you can see the quality.
It is going to render differently on everyone's different units.
Exactly. I mean, I think what they've done, it's quiet, it's deliberate, stealth launches, all these kind of things, building the sinks. It's cleverly positioned Essence and the platform. I mean, it's positioned Essence as a token with organic demand before the hype comes, because they will. I mean, how do you think it's going to look after the product is there and they feel really confident? Because you get one chance to make a good impression. So if they release the platform to the general public and there's loads of issues, and I mean, certainly other games and platforms have survived that, there's always going to be errors. But Shane's obviously seems to be a bit of a perfectionist and stuff. I mean, I don't know him. I have very minimal contact over the years with him. I've asked a few questions and stuff. But he seems sincere. He seems driven. He seems that he wants stuff to be perfect before it comes out. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can fix things. We can allow for errors and stuff. But you also get one chance to make a first impression. So if hundreds of thousands of people come and go, well, this is shit, then they're just going to leave and probably not give it another chance, maybe for a few years.
Yeah. You don't want to fuck that up.
So he's timing it right. When they feel comfortable, when it's ready, when the car runs, when the engine is right, when the tires are pumped and the windows work, then they'll do marketing. And can you imagine how it's going to be when it's pumped and when we have a real tangible product with gameplay loops, with syncs, with an economy, with features, with games, with
advertisements for major corporations on our properties.
Right? I mean, there's E2 University, there's Steve's E2 Orbit, there's Pacey, there's all these content creators getting involved and participating in it, doing different websites and Tyler and all these people getting involved in it, it's not because we're dumb. I mean, this is a real straw man argument that we're delusional, we're too heavily invested to be able to see the truth. But I actually researched
we're over leveraged.
I mean, we've been about an hour and 20 minutes in the show, and Spectrum's probably made 2 more websites on it.
Yeah, he probably has. You know, we're certainly not dumb. And we do look into it. And when you see someone like Callum or UE Gaming or any of these things, when they speak about Earth2, they obviously don't understand even basic core mechanics. And if you're in Earth2 and you hear them say that, you know immediately, you're like, well, he's completely misinterpreted that. He doesn't understand it. Using Ether to spawn avatars reduces its deflationary, it's a burn mechanism, it's a sink. And so that makes the essence that you're holding even more valuable. So, you know, they obviously don't get some of the core mechanics, and then they misrepresent them as negatives. Even
when we did that X show, I'm going to reiterate what I said on there to you, just so everyone else can hear on video. But a long time ago on Nameless's show, I tried giving Callum property, and he couldn't even figure out how to accept it. And I tried to guide him through the process, and I started realizing as we were doing that, he literally knew nothing about the project. He couldn't tell me anything about the pages. He couldn't guide himself through the site at all. And to me, it was like, okay, like, what's going on here? And ever since that moment, whatever anyone thinks of Callum is regardless, I just knew that I don't really care what he has to say, because he's not a valid piece of source.
Not critique. It's not analysis.
I don't go to him for my sources on YouTube. Let's put it that way. You know, he knows nothing about it. So I'm like, why would I even bother listening to one of his videos on it? You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So from that moment on, that's just how I thought about it. And I could care less what Big Fry says either, because those guys, they don't know anything about it. And I would rather concentrate my time on pouring into the community, fun. You know, I'm a humorous guy. I like humor. I like having a good time. You know, I don't want to get into like shouting matches with some gamer that has hundreds of thousands of followers, because I don't care what he thinks. You know, I know what I'm involved in, and I see the future, and it doesn't matter what he says, because the future is going to come with or without them.
Yes. The bugs on the windscreen of progress. Absolutely. I debate with them because I am informed on the project, and I love a good debate.
Yeah.
You know, it's
that's right. You love it. You love the debate. Yeah.
And
we love you for it.
All I keep meeting is this idea that I'm just retarded. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm obviously delusional. I've been insulted all kind of ways, and I just completely ignore the insults, and I try to keep them focused on the points that I'm trying to discuss, because it's a straw man argument. You're dumb, so nothing you say is valid. And again, it's a bias that they're locked into. But I think if I can be reasonable, if I can try and understand their motives, why they have fear, why they hate Web3 gaming, and then I can talk to them maybe a little bit more in their language, or at least have civil conversations. I mean, I'm 51, right? That I'm trying to have a conversation with someone online, and all he's doing is insulting me, or, oh, you're a yoga teacher. That tells me everything I need to know. Well, I'm also an author and a chef and a DJ, and you know, there's multiple facets to.
I would say entrepreneur.
Right? This is again straw man. Let me diminish you down to one label, so I can then just get rid of what you're saying. And this is a really common tactic. It's a trolling tactic.
That's what they do when they lose the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll pick on my hat, my glasses, my you know, anything they can to avoid discussing the point. And it's a real strategy. You'll see trolls do it all the time. I actually did an article on the archetype of internet trolls. It's well worth reading. And so I studied them and I watched them and I was taking notes. I discussed with psychologists. I read the reviews, peer-reviewed studies on things, and I accumulated it. And you know, I was shared through a lot of wellness kind of platforms, but it also got a lot of abuse. And guess who it got abuse from? The trolls. And I had to actually put a comment down the bottom. If you're offended by this article, maybe you need to look in the mirror.
But I'm sure you probably reached a few of them though over time. You know, so not all of them are gonna not take the info. You know. You'll reach a few that are realizing like, wow, maybe there's something to this, you know?
Well, I think that's when I'm discussing this or debating this stuff online, that I'm generally feel that I'm not writing it or composing it or trying to present the argument for the person that I'm discussing it with, because their mind's already closed. It's for the people who are reading the comments, the silent kind of stalkers who are watching, who don't want to get involved in it or don't know enough about it. But I'm presenting logical, reasonable kind of things. And I say to a few of them that insults are the last resort of the weaker argument. That, you know, I'm trying to have a civil discussion here. I'm 51. I'm going to be calling you. Oh, are you crying? Are we in the bloody schoolyard? Like,
all right. Yes,
seriously?
they are. They are trapped in immaturity. Yeah, they are.
It's a lack of a mature conversation, but those conversations do have to be had, not because we want gamers to jump in. So, like, I keep emphasizing to people that I'm like, I've been here for hours discussing this with you. How much have I tried to sell you? Have I told you need to join Earth2? Have I tried to dump my bags on you? Have I tried to profit off you? I'm just trying to discuss the tokenomics, the structure, because you clearly don't understand it. But I'm not here to try and profit off you. I'm here to try and clear up some of the misinformation and the outright lies sometimes.
Well, you're also trying to show them that with this, they can find freedom. You know, freedom from the system, and not just this game in itself, but the future of gaming.
Yes,
you know, exactly. It's not just Earth2. It's where gaming's gonna go, and they need to understand that as gamers.
Yeah. Well, I also think too that we're going to create our own gamers that are playing this game and streaming it live and having their own fans and built a real platform based off of Earth2, because I can watch those lives of E2V1 all day long. You know, I just love it. And they're literally doing nothing really. Right.
Yeah.
So wait till there's
Ramrod.
Wait till there's interactions, wait till there's building mechanics and forging and hunting and playing games. That's going to be quite intriguing to the new viewer of that. And I really do think it will hold their attention quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, things like interior designing skins and modifying skins, weapons, all those elements. People will probably specialize in those things, or the people will be more passive players. Maybe people will be landlords. All of the kind of core mechanic stuff that we've been dealing with and integrating with. I think the general free-to-play or casual player won't see any of that later. That's the infrastructure. And we spent 5 years building infrastructure. We haven't even touched on DAO yet. We haven't even touched on governance. That's also going to be an aspect. But I read there the other day that they said they're going to wait to have the ecosim stabilize before they start introducing DAO. And it's probably, in my guess, that it's going to be some kind of hybrid model. They're not going to immediately give out that decentralized thing. Because it's been manipulated in the past, because people have found ways of taking it over and making all the decisions geared towards their profit. And so the rich get richer again. And I really think Shane doesn't want that scenario happening. He sees that happening and tries to counter it as best he can and tries to pivot. And by retaining some control of it, this hybrid decentralized model, which applies to the entire platform, is clever because it allows them to shift and change as they see the dynamics move. And we have to allow them to be able to do that, or the platform's not going to grow.
And you mentioned designers. We're already starting to see that in the VVverse with the VV platform. There are guys that are going in and they're designing custom rooms and whole worlds really for people for profit, from my understanding. So that's already happening in that. So you're definitely going to see that in Earth2. You're going to see it in all the metaverses probably. You'll have people that'll just specialize in just that. We even saw it in the hollow buildings. You know, how many people were churning out those hollow buildings, and they loved every minute of it because
and earning from it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think DAOs will be the next big challenge for Earth2. There's so many aspects to consider. Many things matter, like how simple they are to use. They're often not simple, and how fast they work. So you're voting on something that the vote doesn't happen for weeks, and people just lose interest. How decisions are made on important topics, whether it's shallow governance or real governance within the platform, that you're making real decisions for that country or that area or that mega city or whatever it is. I mean, I really think we're going to see a kind of mix of different DAO types for a while, and inevitably there will be problems along the way. So there will be shifts, there will be adjustments, and that's how these things evolve. We've just got to kind of ride it. Many years ago, I posted a picture of a meme and it's an Asian guy on a roller coaster, and he's coming down and everyone around him screaming, and he's just super calm and grounded in it. and I put underneath, when it's not your first startup. You know, when you've been through the ups and downs and the delays and the, pitfalls, I think of them as speed bumps. I mean, someone said to me when I was making a few videos, someone said to me, I don't think you should be making, positive videos like this about E2 at the moment, because there's all these issues with payouts and everything. I was like, even more reason to be making these kind of things, because I can see beyond the speed bump. Yeah, it's a little hill, and there's compliance and new regulations and all this stuff is shifting. But I mean, if we believe in the project, we also believe in their ability to be able to solve it, to be able to fix it and find it. I mean, Vivi overnight lost their payment processor like that. It was gone.
Yes, they did.
Just gone.
And what did it take? Like a month, right? Zombie? It took about a month or so, month and a half.
You couldn't withdraw at all. And these kind of stuff happens. It's not what happens to you, but your ability to react, to shift and pivot and fix things. I mean,
and that happened to Earth2 too with PayPal. Remember that?
Yeah.
They were like, it's a scam. That's it.
We got to get that back up and running. I feel we need to get vindicated for that and get PayPal back on board with Earth2.
Little feather in the cap.
Yeah,
right?
like, whoops, we made a mistake.
Have them apologize.
Funny thing about that is it's a self-fulfilling kind of scenario, because all the scam tubers were calling it a scam, which caused a lot of fear. So people did chargebacks on PayPal. So PayPal, seeing loads of chargebacks, then suspends E2's account, freezes all that money, which was millions of dollars, which E2 actually covered, and they continued the kind of payouts, but just without PayPal. So by generating fear, they caused this situation to happen, and then said, look, PayPal thinks they're a scam. They used it as more evidence, and they actually created the scenario. And you just think, wow. I mean, obviously it would be better if we could just withdraw cash straight away. I mean, when I withdrew that money, I went withdraw, and I pulled it out to a Revolut card, and then I went send to my bank account, and it was there within a day. But the other platform, 60 days to withdraw, 30 days, 10 days, 15 days. There's a whole mix of different times. But as DeFi and these kind of things evolve in Web3, there will be somebody who comes up with a faster, compliant way of handling these kind of inputs, and we'll probably just plug and play. that it will integrate into Earth2 and they will handle that probably at some fee or some charge. But that's how these things work. And
like
I think
even Vivi's shifting towards paying out in crypto, I think in November.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of companies are going that route because it's so fast. I mean, it really is a faster option.
And
a lot of people,
cheaper fees.
It's cheaper, it's faster, and you can convert it to whatever you want.
Yeah, and cheaper for Vivi too. They don't have to hold on to that and make everybody liquid. So they kind of get out of the picture and let the ecosystem, you know, handle itself a little bit. I really like that.
Right.
I mean, this is the movement towards these kind of digitized digital money and our ability to shift it around and to own it and to not be taxed on it constantly every time we buy something or tap our card or do it, and we're losing every single round. That so definitely worth watching that video on Usury. That's on my channel if you haven't checked it out yet.
It's called The Hidden War on Freedom for anyone that wants to look that up.
Yeah, it's a concept that's kind of mind-blowing, really, and most people wouldn't realize that charging interest was illegal for hundreds and hundreds of years because it eroded society and it caused all these imbalances in power and money, and people, the rich, we keep coming back to this, the rich get richer and the poor stay poorer, and the middle class are pushed further down into into poverty. So anything that offers an escape from that is worth exploring. It's at least worth having a conversation about, but it's very difficult to have a conversation with people who when their idea of things is fixed. So I try to remain measured during these. I mean, occasionally I get annoyed. I bite back. I'm Irish. I was a head chef. I'm a sarcastic motherfucker. So I've like curse on here. And you know, I can certainly give it. You know, I make memes, and you know, I've got that mentality for it. So I can be caustic. I can troll. I can do all these kind of things. But when I'm trying to discuss it, I certainly in the last few years, I'm trying to have reasonable discussions with them. It's just really hard to find. And the Earth2 community is sometimes responsible for that. On Big Fry's Twitter, he just stopped responding to me when the stuff I was saying was making sense. But another guy jumped on and he asked good questions. One of the Earth2 guys, he was you know, attacking him. And I said, hang on a minute. We actually need people to. It's a valid question. He doesn't know. Let's talk him through
let's discuss it. Yeah,
let's have these discussions. That's what I'm petitioning for. You know, not. We don't need more pitchforks. We need more bridges. I finished.
Well, you see that with the recent shooting, right? Like, you know, once we stop like being able to talk to each other, we start hating. You know, and we don't want pitchforks and guns. We should be able to have a conversation. You know.
Yeah.
And even if they don't want to get involved, that's fine. We can coexist alongside or as an alternate to. The funny thing about it is that they're not in the slightest bit concerned about how I spend the rest of my money. They don't care if I spend all my money on hookers and cocaine, right? But if I spend $1,000 on E2, everybody's got an opinion on it. I could be squandering my money everywhere. But you're only concerned about the $1,000 I invested in Earth2 5 years ago, which I've already withdrawn. And a kid said to me on YouTube, he goes, because you often get attacked on YouTube or when you're a content creator in Earth2. I'm sure you guys will find that out at some point. He said to me, when I explained that I'd already withdrawn as much money as I put in, he's like, well, why haven't you left the project yet? And I was like, well, that's only from your perspective. I am still holding 150,000 Essence, thousands of civilians, Sidroids, all my land, EPLs, all these kind of things that I'm holding that are 10, 20x what I initially put in, which I've already withdrawn. So why would I withdraw from the project? It's only from your perspective, what you've been shown, these kind of scam tuber, essentially they're hit pieces. They're not well researched. They're not analysis. They're not even keen to analyze the project. They're just cashing in on the kind of clickbait punchlines. And I think I said to you earlier in Discord that Callum's videos, they're like intellectual fast food. They might look good on the menu, but they've got no nutrition at all. And you know, when you get it, it's just tiny, this size burger, but on the screen it looks great, right?
That's real pretty.
So $100,000 to play E2. Well, obviously, he's never looked at the marketplace, or you know, the fact that you can buy T3 tiles for 10 cents, and he clearly can't do maths, or he's just not familiar with the platform. He just isn't familiar with it. He doesn't understand the mechanics, the dynamics of it. Spend some time on it. If you're going to research, you know, a project, if you're going to make content on it, you would expect that the actual minimum requirement is that you've put the time in. And it's clear that he hasn't, but it's only clear to people who are in Earth 2. To people who aren't in Earth 2, it sounds feasible. What he's saying sounds feasible, and they've been fed a lot from a few different angles. And I tried to emphasize this point in one of the shows, the Scambuster show I did with Robin, where at the end I said, this guy has 40,000 subs. But I found his video a week after he released it, and there was 3 comments and like 200 watches. So I only have 400 or 500 subscribers, but when I release a video, I'll have 15, 20 comments and, you know, 100 watches. So like, how does it equate that he has 40,000 subs and I have 400 and he's getting the same kind of parameters? And I said, so what it is bot subbing. You can pay to
I've heard
pay
of that.
a company to get subs. They're fake subs, and they generate AI comments and stuff. And I said, and I have, you know, there's programs you can go into and you can check out whether a channel has utilized bot subbing. And I said he has. And I did it in a very sincere voice.
Wow.
And at the end of it, I said, now, if you believed me, I haven't presented the slightest bit of evidence. He could have, he may not have. All I had to do was present a coherent, feasible kind of theory, and you will believe it because it's being presented online by somebody who sounds like they know what they're talking about. And that's exactly what Callum, Big Fry, UE play on. They sound feasible, but when you dissect their arguments, they fall to pieces. There's no nutrition there. They haven't done the research. They don't actually know what they're talking about.
Benny says, a good game project is one that proves its promise by delivering results. It takes a process, but consistency is the key step at this moment. That's right. Yeah. 100%.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, I think we've seen Shane deliver on promises, but if you were on the Scamtuber camp, Shane's a liar. He's a narcissist. I mean, it's been an absolute character assassination of him.
We saw the same stuff with Vivi. You know, same stuff with Vivi was going on. I don't know if other platforms had the same scam tubers that hit them too, but they just fade away after time, and then you know, whether the subs that he had were real or not, they either left because he wasn't saying the right thing, or you know, or maybe they were bots. But at the end of the day, you have a bigger voice than he does because you're in the project. People care what you have to say, and that's what's going to carry the project forward. You know, he's just looking for clicks.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
big
he's got
difference.
to make a living. I actually think that I kind of baited Callum, to be honest, to attack me, to come at me, you know, and he was telling me, "Oh, you're out of the frying pan into the fire, buddy. I'm gonna crucify you like he did to Arya." But
That'll never happen.
I teach philosophy and study Buddhism and hepatitis, and no matter what Callum could throw at me, I actually thought it would be an interesting lesson, because the incidence of cyberbullying online, and when you get some kind of streamer who's got hundreds of thousands of people who can also jump on and propagate their kind of thing. So it didn't matter what Callum was going to throw at me. I was going to, but he actually, because of the Online Safety Act and Ofcom and stuff, that, you know, I was going, just do you. I'm expecting it. In fact, I'm counting on it. So I maybe gave away the idea. I was like baiting him, come after me, come abuse me, do it, because, you know, this kind of online safety, it'll prove the point. But the real point is that I am a deeply flawed human being. I've made loads of mistakes. I've cheated, I've betrayed, I've stole, I've lied. And he couldn't know any of that, right? Because he doesn't know me. So when you take away that power, when you take away the thing that they're trying to embarrass you with, when you own your own stuff, they actually have zero power over you. And it's you know, they're punching thin air. They're trying to hit you, but it's just punching thin air, and eventually they run out of.
And like Benny said, you know, the good game project is one that proves its promise by delivering results. No matter what they say, they're still putting out the project. Exactly. And it's still proving itself, right? Over time. And eventually their words fade into nothing. Nobody cares, you know? And you will be proven right. And so will E2 and other companies that they bash all day long in the long run, because the results are there. And they'll know, you know, who to listen to in the future. I think Zombie's got to run in a few minutes. What do you have any closing comments you want to throw out there for the community?
I mean, I think it's progressing nicely. When we said 5 to 10 year project, I think people thought, oh, maybe it'll be finished quicker, or they don't understand it. If everything was released now, it wouldn't take 5 to 10 years. And I said to someone the other day, when they're like, oh, you need to release it, you need to, Shane, you have to release it. Think of it like a cake, right? Because I was a chef. If you put a cake in the oven and it says it takes 40 minutes to bake, if you pull it out after 20 minutes because you're impatient, all you get is a big half-baked mess that you can't even eat, right? So pushing for something ahead of the kind of time frame of it would create a half-baked mess that people would come in and say, well, you know, this is rubbish. We heard it was rubbish. We came and saw it was rubbish. And waiting until things are perfected. And it's very normal to go through this kind of pattern of testing and improving on things and layering it and releasing different, I mean, we're calling it threads, but this is very common. So just stay with the project. Obviously, if you need money and you have to sell things, you're going to do that. But the longer that you can stay in this, I think the more rewards you're going to get. Not just financially, though, from engagement, from education, from fitness, from all of these elements that are going to evolve. It's a really exciting time. And the technology is catching up with us, all the multiplayer and all this core kind of stuff. It's allowing thousands and thousands of people to be integrated at the same time. And we like the quote I used earlier, the hype was 3 or 4 years ago. The technology is just catching up now. So we're in prime position to kind of take advantage of that.
And like me, I came for the monetary value, the increase, the investment, but what I gained was a community, you know. Absolutely. And I would say every community that we've been involved in, whether it be Cornucopias, Eon Rift, Vivi, Earth2, Fish, even we love the Fish community too. All of them, we gain a lot from each other, and when we can come together and have fun together, man, I mean,
I think it's also a way of educating the masses in terms of things like crypto governance, and you know, all DAOs, all of these kind of things through gameplay. I mean, I work for the council over here, and they send me all these courses I have to do. They're like games. That I have to follow this path around and click on these things and do these things. You know, everything has become gamified, and it is a really good way of teaching people things. So we need to educate people on Web3, on crypto integration, on wallets, DAOs, all these things, and we'll do it through the games.
Right. Yeah, well said.
All right. Well, thanks for
everybody.
coming up, Paul. We appreciate you. It's been an epic show. I think a lot of people are like pushback put on here. Really good discussion, insight about how much time it takes for a good development. Eon Rift, they've been dealing with the same stuff. It's taking too long. It's taking too long. Every community is saying the same stuff, and it takes time to put out a good product. And we appreciate you coming on the show. Zombie, you're the man. Paul, you're the man. We love you. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Later.